All right. Hello, guys. Uh, Hope I'm audible. Am I audible enough? Right. Okay. Have you marked your attendance, all of you? I hope you guys did. Please do it. Please do right away. Okay. In terms of whatever we are planning to do today, we will, take. I will take questions from you. Um, in terms of the clarifications, or if you have any kind of questions related to other aspects of what we have not discussed yet in terms of employability skills. No matter what that is, the floor is open. You can ask, but then please touch upon whatever we did discuss too. So that is also very important. So, and before that, I guess I have received three slots, not three slots, three teams, information from three teams. Couple of the teams are going today, right? Right. Kathy, your team, and who else? Right. What time have you decided? Please confirm confirm through a message to me. I also received a message with list of team members from Katija, I think. Decide on a schedule, please, and yeah, and confirm it by today. That Yeah, so maybe by Wednesday or Thursday, right? And for we need couple of more teams so that we can close it out this week. Who's who are the others who are missed out on this from the three teams that we have already decided? We have Anisa's team, and we have who else? Kaushik, right? Kaushik and Anisa's team and Khadija's team. So anyone who is not part of it, Christy, which team are you part of? Okay, already included, right? What about Gopi Krishna? You part of any team already? Okay. So anyone left out? Okay. You send me the list of members along with the schedule for the next couple of days. Send me a schedule, Pooja. Right. Even after which, if there is anyone pending, then we'll have to discuss about it tomorrow and close it out. Okay. So now, yeah, the floor is open. You can start asking questions, or should I, discuss whatever I plan to discuss first? Yeah, maybe that's good. I'll start doing that. Uh, any interview for that matter. It doesn't matter where you are, which profile, it doesn't matter. When it comes to particularly HR round of interview, your the first couple of minutes holds the key. You impress a person who's sitting in the interviewer's chair in the first 2 minutes, 80% possible that you're selected. If you fail to do that, and then 80% possible that you're not selected. So the first couple of minutes is absolutely vital. So think about what all goes through or what all you end up doing in the first, initial couple of minutes. That is something which you have to start practicing and get better. So let's chronological order போய் பார்க்கலாம். We'll just see what happens. First thing is you'll have to enter the interview hall. You'll have to walk towards the interviewer, have a proper eye contact, introduce yourself with a handshake, and then take a couple of steps back and take your seat. So this is something which all of us have to do. All right, this takes hardly 10 seconds. And how are we going to mess it up? What are the possibilities that we can mess it up in the first 10 seconds? There is absolutely multiple opportunities for us to mess it up. So what is the major aspect in terms of this? I don't know how many of you understand Tamil, but still there is a saying, "Aal padi, adai padi," right? So it applies even for interviews. It is absolutely applicable here. Why is that, sir? Because when you present yourself, how you present yourself is absolutely key here. You're going for a wedding. How are you dressing up? You're going for a movie. How are you dressing up? You're going, let's say, to a beach. How do you dress up? You go to college. How do you dress up? You're at home. How do you dress up? It's not the same, right? You have a template. Each of you have a template for each of the occasion. So a professional scenario expects you to attire yourself in a particular way. And what is that? That is something which you need to plan and prepare yourself. Gaudy, bright, dark colors, please avoid all those things. Keep it subtle, keep it professional, and as much as possible, keep it plain and simple. If you can, pull off a look that is graceful, that is pleasant, that can be professional at the same time that can, bring out the confidence in you. That is the best ideal scenario. You'll have to plan your attire, towards that. We discussed a little bit about that on Saturday, I think. So that is absolutely vital. So once you dress appropriately, it's all about your body language and eye contact and how you behave. Right now, combining all of this, right? We don't always dress up in a professional, way. Yeah, obviously, to college, you guys do come in a semi professional attire, but then being a professional, being in a professional scenario demands a lot more. It doesn't mean you dress up a lot. It doesn't mean that way. And then you'll have to be a little more careful about what you wear, what colors to wear, and all those things. Just be careful about that. Okay, now the reason why we're discussing about this right now is we need to practice that as well. Um, okay, from what I have seen in my friends, from my cousins, since this group in particular is a lot about women power. Whatever I have observed from my cousins and my friends, whenever we go for a wedding or something, let's say a month before, right? I'm not sure if this holds good for every one of you, but at least for my beautiful cousins, they start discussing what they are wearing a month in advance. They try and get the fit right. Uh, if there is any problem in terms of the stitching, they go to the tailor, get it rectified. It's a process in itself. They have multiple options too. So I've seen it, through my cousins and friends, right, on multiple occasions, and this doesn't get bored, for them. Okay, now shift the focus to the other gender, which is, my category. Unfortunately, I start planning on anything unless it was discussed in terms of, hey, day what I worrying da now should we plan something, until that comes up in a discussion between a set of friends. Otherwise, I don't even plan anything. I have something locked in, so I just take it. I just carry it, and then I'll only wear it on the day of the wedding or on the day of the function, right? So there is a difference. But the problem herein is, it doesn't matter how you actually look in a wedding. Um, the reason is you're not losing out much on that. Even if you fail to impress anyone, you're not losing much. But when it comes to being a in a professional scenario, there is a lot at stake. What can I lose, right? I can end up not being confident because I don't look proper during an interview. I'm not happy about how the way I look. I'm not happy about the fit of my shirt. I'm not happy about how good I exhibit myself, how confident, how professional I look in the attire. If I'm not confident that way, then it goes a long way in terms of projecting my confidence level in the interview, and this affects in the first 2 minutes. If I'm not confident, if I'm not walking right, if I'm not confident in meeting someone, giving a smile, having a proper handshake, all these things will pull you down a little. And in the first 2 minutes it's a lot, even if it is a small on the downtrend. It is a lot to take in because 2 minutes is a short duration where you'll have to impress upon the HR. So now what happens next? Once you settle down, 10 seconds down the line, you give a handshake, you settle down, and then the person sitting opposite you, the interviewer, looks at the resume, and the first question, 90% of the time, the first question is, tell me about yourself. Then it is all about your confidence. It's confidence in terms of your communication skills. So unless otherwise you do the first 10 seconds right, the next 30 seconds doesn't go right for you. This is from my experience. So take it, please, take it that this is absolutely vital. So what should we do for that? Follow the girls, not literally follow what they do, right? For a wedding, a month before they lock in their attire, they get it right. They get it right to the T. They visit the tailor at least once in between. They get it rectified. They ensure all the options are taken care of in terms of the ornamental side effects. So my point here is that is the importance that you should give, but then not in terms of what is the dress or what is the extras that you add on, but in terms of feeling comfortable in what you're wearing. That is absolutely vital. At the same time, guys, I'm particularly talking about men here. Um, Trust me, formals is entirely different from your formals that you wear in college. I've seen, over the past 1 year, most of the guys wear pants which is skin tight. That's not professional. That is not accepted. So ensure you start wearing something professional, which is a normal, fitted pant, not the skin tight, not the ones which is a couple of inches above your ankle. Ensure it is proper fit and you have a proper shoe, polished ones, and you wear it once in a while, and then sit in front of the mirror and try and talk to yourself in a professional, manner. That is absolutely vital. Praveen, you're talking about something which is very, very, very a small portion of the interview. Absolutely, yes. Just your what you wear, how you walk in. It could be, you could say that it is a small portion, but then for me, that's that's giving you a head start. Once you get that right, once you feel the confidence in terms of how you um, look, the physical appearance in terms of being professional, once you get it right, everything else comes in order. How are you even saying that? Because this affects the interviewer. The interviewer is doing this interview 30 times a day for 15 minutes each, right? Let's say 30 is a number, minimal number I'm talking about. He or she is meeting 30 people a day, and each of them he or she meets 15 to 20 minutes to interview. So imagine the time that that person takes to assess candidates. So human beings are tuned to find a routine, to find a path which helps them to make the decisions you know quick and fast, right? So that is absolutely a human being's um, natural inclination, right? They don't wait, assess everything through your answers. They do assess in terms of how you present yourself and how confident you are presenting yourself that way. Unless otherwise you practice yourself, you look at yourself in that dress, in that costume quite often, it becomes a problem area on the day of interview. The first 2 minutes, as I said, is absolutely vital, so which you will have to practice all those things. So once you start practicing, wearing that attire, looking at yourself, having a proper eye contact, a little smile, the walk, the way you sit, the handshake. Once you practice all these things over a period of couple of months, then it becomes a second skin for you, a natural reflection from you, which is going to help you. Rather than on the interview date, if you're doing it for the first time, it will look odd. So don't try doing that on an interview day. Start doing it beforehand. Try to project yourself in a scenario, professional scenario, in front of yourself at least, so that you know how you look. You're okay. You're comfortable, and that will reflect in your interview. That will reflect in how you answer. So this is absolutely vital. And then they're gonna ask you the 90% of the time. The first question is, "Tell me about yourself." So I've already told you this. Start as a story, and if you are really confident, then it's up to you. You can go anywhere. But then if you are not, if you feel you need to take a safer route, then start from your early days. I would even start from where I was born, right? I would say I was born in Madurai. Then I moved to this place. I did my school here. I did all my school here, or I moved from one place to another. My father was working in um, this. He was in terms of a particular profession. You can mention that profession, and because of which you had to shift places from one to another. Because of which a lot of shifts in school. You can mention all those things. Please do. And this is how you build up a story, not going from your current scenario towards earlier ones. Then it is a lot of problem area for you, because you don't have a flow of thought process. The thought process is not there. There is not a flow that you can rely on. If you start from your birth to your college days, then there is a flow of thought. The thought process is there. The flow is there. The words come out smoothly, and that will help you in return. So my suggestion is go that way. So for all of it, you'll have to prepare. So you can ask me, should I prepare for Tell Me About Yourself? Yes, but then I'm not asking you to write down all the information and then mug it up and then vomit it out. Don't do that. That's the least and the last thing that you will do. What you do is you have a thought process, you have a flow based on your life, right? You're starting from, okay, I was born here, I did my school here. That's easier. So you rely on that. And if you want to explain something, it's absolutely fine. But one area that a lot of people go wrong without even knowing that they are going wrong is they um, they start giving alternate truths. You don't do that. Alternate truths in the sense, people start lying in an interview because it looks good. The actual truth is not that convincing or that attractive. So I'll go for an alternate truth. So I start lying. It will be a small thing. It is actually not a lie in terms of the marks that you got, but then, and the way you put it across. So what happens is, sometimes the interviewer is able to look through you know the lies that you are making up. So if they do that, then trust me, being the sadistic HR that they are, they're going to point out, or they're going to stick to that particular point that you just lied about. They won't ask you directly, but then they'll question you repeatedly on that. And at some point, you will understand that they have made, they really made out that you have lied, and then that's going to be running in your head. You're going to spoil your opportunities there. So, and hence, remember all these points. The first 2 minutes is the key. 80% of your chance therein lies there. So ensure all of you practice. Guys, I'm telling you, without practice, nothing comes to anybody. I want you guys to do that. And yes, that's about the initial 2 minutes. Is there any questions that I could answer? Sure. You're talking about beard, right? Yeah, you're talking about beard. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying, Saravanan. You're absolutely right. Because all along, all your life, you once you're after 15 or 16, you grow a little beard, and that suits you, and you're happy with it. You're in a good space with it. But what happens at the interview in terms of campus hiring, or when you're a fresher, right? Then my suggestion is, we don't know, right, as a student or as a first time interview process. We are not sure which are the companies that have adapted to having employees with beard. There are many companies these days which are absolutely fine with it, without having having beard or not having beard. It's up to them. So the employers are accepting to that fact. So, yes, but in terms of campus hiring, we are still a little conservative. I'm talking about from the institution side, from our college side, right? They are worried. They are worried that this will affect your chances. So, in terms of that, that is one point where having beard is not going to go down well. The next thing is the earlier point when I said some organizations have started accepting beard as a normal these days, but still there are a lot of organizations who are still conservative. they still follow clean shaven policy, not well groomed beard, but they want clean shaven, employees in their, uh, setup. So we don't know which company wants what. So what if you go in a beard, even though if it is well groomed, um, you go to an interview and they feel you're not, groomed properly, which means you're not shaved. So you're losing out on that. Why lose out on that option? That's what I'm saying. But then your question is correct. You will be comfortable, but at the same time, except for campus hiring, then it is up to you. You can groom yourself with a beard and then go attend an interview. But for a campus drive, I would still suggest there are a lot of conservative energy around. So I would suggest to have a clean shaven look for campus hiring. You're right. I agree with you, Saranan. I, I yeah, see, you're right. You have an answer. You're absolutely right. No, I'm not going to argue with your point at all. So what happened was May 21. I think the college is closed for us. I think 24th lockdown was announced. I think 25th or 26th I tried, clean shaven at home. Right, nobody's gonna look at me otherwise. It it took me, a week's time by which I grew back my beard, but then it looked odd. I didn't look at the mirror at all for the next 3 4 days till the time there was something here. So I understand what you're saying. I'm totally with you, Saravanan. Just that we have a lot of conservative energy around. They're not going to let you have a beard. They're going to keep pointing at that as a issue. So again, my point is many companies, many organizations are still conservative. Forget about institution from college side, people are pushing you to shave. That's a different point. But what if the organizations themselves expect something like that, right? So it is a small price to pay. So my advice for you, Saranan, is if you feel there is an interview, there is an organization that you want to crack, right? You want to be part of. You feel that organization is very, very good. It is absolutely vital for you to crack the interview. Then my suggestion is at least a month before, uh, try to have this clean shaven look for a, every other day. Try to have, shave and have a clean shaven look for a 20 25 days, and then it doesn't look odd because then you have accepted the new look for yourself. So my suggestion is that try this look, well in advance, not just on the day of interview. Then it helps. But I totally agree, if you are doing this look only for the interview, then obviously you are not in a right confidence, right frame of mind, because you're not happy yourself. So I totally agree with you, Saravanan. Just that the reality is different, and what you actually feel is totally different from the reality that is expected. So my suggestion is, if you want to crack interview, if you feel, that is more important, then I would want you to do this look a month prior. Keep this clean shaven look for a month so that you don't feel odd on the day of interview. Right. Okay, we're talking about this a lot. Any other questions, please? Yes. Okay. See, the order is part of the story, is what I think. Whoever suggested you that, it is in a good intention. But then, when an interview actually happens, put yourself in the shoes, right? You are Katija, you are interviewing a set of freshers. Okay, so every individual you are taking 10 to 20 minutes max. So you are meeting at least 30-35 people a day. Imagine when you will be bored at some point. You will stop listening to that person at some point. Why does that happen? Because the other person is not interesting enough. So when you tell a story in the sense, I'm not trying to make up a cook up a story like a movie kind, right? So I'm giving the information. If you're only putting the information as a priority, then the whole intention of this question, right, getting your confidence in terms of communication skills, that is gone, right? So if you're just giving information, you're not giving the chance for the interviewer to assess this confidence that you have in terms of the communicating ability. You should give them that. How will you give that? Give that opportunity for the interviewer only when you speak a lot, only when you make sentences, when only when you give your information in a, see, always there is masala needed. So you will have to put your information in a way, when you give it to them, they enjoy that information, right? So that's what I mean. So if your information is like too good, let's say, Katija, you are state first in school, adhiye boring solta, what happens then, right? So you will have to provide a little bit of story. I'm not saying you give everything as a, a great story here, where you are assessed in terms of your story making ability. What I mean is, keep them engaged. When I say give you ஒரு graph கொடுக்குறீங்கன்னா, that should engage them throughout the graph, right? You can't, the COVID மாதிரி ஆயிடக்கூடாது. Imagine a scenario, ஒரு March endல, when we went on the lockdown, every day by 6 o'clock we were in front of the TV, looking at the score. இன்னைக்கு எவ்வளவு பேரு, right? That then the score was 20, 25, 30 a day. Now the number of people getting affected every day is almost 2000. And how many of us are interested in that? We are not even worried about that. Now we wait for some news to hit us, somebody else to tell us, or we look in the Twitter later, but we are not in front of the TV looking at the actual report coming out. So what is the difference here? After a while, HRs lose interest in terms of the information itself, right? So that's the actual, that's the reality. So you will have to keep the person engaged in whatever you're saying. How will you do that? It is not one answer for this. Katija will do it differently, Pooja can do it differently, Saravanan will do it differently, Praveen will do it differently. But the intention is me giving them information in a way that the interviewer doesn't have his or her attention somewhere else, going somewhere else, because we are boring. We should ensure the body language that we use, the hand gestures that we use, the way we speak, the way we dress up, everything, gives a overall, interest for that person to communicate with us. Unless otherwise you do that, the first 2 minutes is gone. So you lose the 80% chance to, hit the nail in the coffin. Unless otherwise you do that, this is not going to work out. Having a structure is absolutely vital, so that you don't forget things. But then at the same time, just giving the structure is not going to help you. So what is the difference then? What is the difference between a Pooja and a Katija and a Saravanan and a Praveen? Right? How will you overshadow others? Your intention, Katija, is to overshadow Pooja and Saravanan to get through that interview. There, Pooja and Saravanan are not your friends. Yeah, so if you are just giving the structure without being attractive while sharing the basic information, it will at some point does not reach the person sitting in the opposite side. You will have to give them something where they are stuck to you. They don't their thought process is not wavering. They don't look anywhere else. Their concentration doesn't scatter. அதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணணுமோ அதெல்லாம் நீங்க பண்ணி தான் ஆகணும். have a structure. You want to go through the structure, that's absolutely fine. But then the structure should have some kind of masala which helps them, keep their interest level going throughout. அது போச்சுன்னா first 2 minutes you will impress them and the remaining interview will become very easy. ஏன்னா, yeah, no, I'll finish this. One more thing. Again, யார் interview பண்றா? Is it some alien from some other planet? Human beings, right? Where are they coming from? The same city, the same traffic, the same family issues. Every day the same interviewer will have a different, kind of thought process, different moods when they sit on an interview. Professional interviews should be professional. They should not bring in their emotional altercations that morning to the interview. We can talk about it. Practically, is it possible? There will be at somewhere in our head, காலையில ஒரு சின்ன விஷயம் நடந்திருக்கும், பேரண்ட்ஸோட ஒரு பிரச்சனை நடந்திருக்கும். It will run in our head, even though we are like laughing with our friends, we are making jokes. It will run throughout the day. It will run at the evening, even worse, because we are going back home and we'll have to face them again. காலையில சண்டை போட்டு ஓடி வந்தாச்சு, but then again we'll have to face them. So this is going to be there for the interviewer as well. That person will have some kind of mood swings, and trust me, we are waiting for a turn. There are 10 people who have already attended interviews. We don't know how good or how bad those interviews went, and what is the mood of that interviewer then? ஏப்பா செம worst batch அது அப்படின்ற ஒரு thought வந்துச்சுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். That person is not going to give 100% when you are talking. You will have to break that. Everyone have to break that. Everyone has a responsibility to project their information in a way that they gain their attention. And that's what I'm saying. We are meeting human beings. How will you make them like you? Interview வேற ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல. It's a professional way of making somebody like you and hire you. Period. I don't know why they said that. They are wrong. Yeah. See, what is too much for you, or what is too much for me can't be decided with someone else. The reason why I'm saying this is, I am different from you, Katija. I am different from you, Saravanan. You are different from Pooja. All of us are different beings. We have our own body language. We have our own way of expressing stuff. Praveen can't use his hands, na. He's not a trainer anymore. Okay, so what I mean is, in an interview, you can't go, பயங்கரமா கையாட்டி அப்படி பேசணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. But then you need to use your hand gestures. That's your normal. You can't go out of your normalcy at any point. And that's the reason I'm saying practice, 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 and whatever you want to, project during an interview becomes your normal. At the day of the interview, you can't make changes. So if you want to make change, if Katija feels her body language is not good enough, then Katija will have to work on it. I can only, tell Katija, you are dancing. But at the same time, obviously, when you talk, right, when you try and move your hand gestures, it is not the dance that's in your mind. It is the idea of how to communicate, how best I can communicate, right? For which you are using your body language, hand gestures, right? Unless otherwise we make our communication really great, we won't be communicating anything. And if your body language helps there, please go ahead, do it. I don't see a problem with hand gestures. Just that hand gestures cannot be like this. It can, you can use like this. You can go like this. You can, use your hands. You can lock your hands like this. That's absolutely okay. That's how you should be. That brings the confidence also, right? That brings out the confidence. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Yes. Yes, Kathy. Yes. 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 Mm, mm. Okay. This is a question that can only be answered uh, having myself as an interviewer. I can't answer for others because when the interviewer itself is not having a proper eye contact with you, that that only can mean couple of things. One, he's just going with the motion, that he or she is just going with the motion, not actually there, not interested. That is one. The second thing, he or she is not respecting us, right? So these are the two options that one can think of. But as a person giving the interview, I don't have a choice but to answer whatever is asked of me. So what happens is, Kathy, this affects us a lot. When there is a question that's being asked and you finish the answer, right? You take a few seconds, 20, 30 seconds to answer the question, and then wait for that person to respond. ஒரு recognition. Okay, you answered ன்ற அந்த ஒரு, that is a recognition that you expect, but we don't get that at some point. That is a technique also by the HR to put ourselves uncomfortable scenario. How are we going to respond in that scenario? So it is absolutely important to get a proper body language and non-verbal communication skill going there. You finish your answer and then keep looking at that person in their eye. And once they give an eye contact, they must at some point. Once they give an eye contact, give a little smile. That's all you can do. But then, just because that person is not looking at you doesn't mean you'll have to carry on with explaining a lot about it. Once you finish your answer, if you feel confident, you don't have to explain more on that topic. Let them, make an eye contact because you are looking at them. Um, Imagine a scenario. You're there and you're making that mistake, right? You're not looking at the other person in the eye, and the other person is you realize, even though you're not looking, you realize that the other person is looking at you, looking into your eye, right? So our normal human wiring is to look at the person. So that normally happens. So but then that is to put ourselves, put the person giving the interview in a tough spot also. But then you need to be confident about what you're answering, and about your body language. Just finish your answer and wait for them to come back. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So which are the teams that are going today? Kathy, so that is Anisa and Kaushik, right? Anyone else today? Okay. So confirm the timing, both the teams. Okay, we can discuss some more about interview skills tomorrow, and we will also come up with sorry, we'll also come up with things to do in terms of group discussions and interviews. Interviews will happen for everyone with me, maybe on a video call or something. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. But then, as of now, group discussion is our target. You can also ask me questions tomorrow in terms of group discussions. Let me try and clarify as much as possible. But then, the important part is, please practice, start practicing. And just another important thing, give your attendance. Don't forget that. You spent a lot of time here. Please give your attendance and Google Classroom, please. And that's it from me. Thank you. Thank you.